clear that Joker has affected audiences across the globe. Some are totally freaked out, some amazed, but above all, everyone is confused. There's so many conflicting scenes, as I explained in my review, you don't really know what's happening, what's real and what's not. And so to break down and try to understand, today I'm going to explain every possible ending to the Joker. Obviously, that's a clickbait title, so if you have another theory or you perceive the story in another way, feel free to leave a comment and explain your ending. As the Joker said, everything's subjective. So let's begin simple first of all. Everything you just watched really happened. Other than the two revealed hallucinations of the Murray Franklin show and Arthur's romance with his neighbour Sophie, everything else happened. He killed Murray, he got arrested, he got broken out and officially became the Joker before we assume the riots eventually were stopped and the Joker was taken in again. After all, he had nothing to live for anymore, and so gets taken to Arkham Asylum, whereby he kills the counsellor who came to see him, and possibly escapes. Possibly not? I don't think he escapes here, the reason being, as said, he had nothing to live for. The only thing that would possibly give him reason to do so is the possible appearance of Batman in his universe, meaning that last scene is years and years in the future. Possibly. Moving forward, everything gets a little crazier, starting with the Joker's real parents. Penny Fleck constantly talks about working for the Wayne family, and is insistent that Thomas Wayne would help her and Arthur. He doesn't understand why until he reads a letter addressed to Thomas, whereby he finds out he is his son. He confronts Wayne, in which he then reveals that Penny is insane and that Arthur is in fact adopted. Arthur goes to the hospital and steals his mother's file, which confirms the adoption papers, along with his tortured past, which most likely led to his mental instability. However, this theory suggests that the adoption papers were in fact fake. Penny wasn't as crazy as it first seemed. Every iteration of Gotham City we've seen has reinforced this idea of how powerful the Wayne family are, so who's to say upon hearing the news of his latest fling getting pregnant, Thomas Wayne started the process to fake adoption papers and have Penny sent to hospital. This would mean that Arthur is in fact a Wayne, and half-brother to Bruce. Moving on, there's a number of scenes that could be interpreted as Arthur dying and or killing himself, as we see that was his original intention on the Murray Franklin show. The first of which actually made me go and see the film a second time to make sure I didn't imagine it. About halfway through, Arthur takes the contents of his fridge out and climbs in, with a long shot just holding that image. Quite possibly, it's simply a metaphor showing his fall into a cold, dark place. Or, it's an act of suicide. In that moment, he has the intention of killing himself, and everything after this is his mind making up scenarios of a better outcome to his comedy. He gets to go on the Murray Franklin show. He finally gets the praise and approval from society that he so desperately craved and needed. He may have been found in the fridge before he died and taken to Arkham, taking us to the final scene once again, or perhaps that's all part of the hallucination as well. The second potential death occurs after the shooting as he's been taken in by police. He's looking out the window, marvelling at what chaos he has created, when suddenly an ambulance driven by two rioters smashes straight into the police car. The cops are either killed or knocked out, as is Joker. His body is taken out and placed on top of the car as he comes to and takes in everything around him, fully embodying the Joker. But that didn't happen. This ending suggests he dies right there. In that car crash, in his final moments, he again imagines receiving that praise and recognition he has had a lack of all his life. As earlier stated, there's a lot of confusion surrounding the film, the reason for that being the difficulty of determining what's real and what's not. There are more obvious scenes, some people even suggest that the entire film was one big hallucination, and he was in Arkham Asylum the entire time, just narrating another origin that could or could not be true, just as unreliable as he is in the comics with the Red Hood story or even Heath Ledger's Scar story. There are, however, more scenes that people may realise that could be completely made up and in the head of Arthur Fleck. There's conflicting information. Most of us assume it's just a world out to get him. For example, we see in the opening scene his sign gets stolen and he gets beaten up. Later in the movie, his boss claims he's been told Arthur stole the sign and simply left his post. As said, this could just be people being unforgiving towards him, or he is lying, or even further, he's convinced himself that what we saw actually happened. He was capable of pretending Sophie was with him for half the movie. Why not this? This doesn't exactly explain the bruising we see, but then again, it seems like it could be a regular occurrence and may not have been from that scene. This happens again later as we see Randall, his co-worker, offer him a gun for protection. This we assume is either him being genuinely nice or a plan to get him fired, which is the way Arthur sees it. However, Randall denies this happening but does claim Arthur had previously asked about buying a gun. Maybe part of the act, or Arthur just imagined the scenario to excuse himself of the consequences. The final scene is the death of the 3 Wayne employees on the subway. We see Arthur act in retaliation, in self-defense, and then hunts the last guy down in revenge. But later on, the Murray Franklin show, he claims he had no reason or purpose for committing the crime, just that they were horrible people. The key word in this movie is definitely subjective. It's what you perceive and how you understand it. None of these are 100% incorrect. That's how you see the story, and it's been done like this on purpose. Everything's just ever so slightly vague enough for it to be plausible, kind of like a choose-your-own-adventure book. You decide where you want to go. This idea is encapsulated by the Joker himself. The next theory and explanation combines parts of a few others. It suggests that everything good or positive thing that happens to Arthur is fake. Again, we know he made up his relationship with Sophie, so what if we extend this idea to everything good in his life? Every time he's offered affection from Sophie, Murray, the rioters when he's on top of the car, and even moments with his own mother, this means that everything that doesn't involve this love was real, from him being beaten up to losing his job. Explained by Jim Viveda on IGN, Arthur is simply looking for that connection with people, and when he doesn't receive it, he makes it up. Whether that's the fantasy of Murray Franklin stating he wished he had a son like him, or this almost obsession with wanting to be the son of Thomas Wayne. Another theory put forward on IGN's Explain video suggests at the end, Joker is in what he perceives to be heaven, or more likely hell in his case, but he personally sees it as beautiful. This comes across as it looks so clean and bright, and throughout the film, sunlight is used to show when he's happiest, often when he's just murdered someone. Finally, to finish things off with a nice simple one, it's revealed he can no longer get his medication after government funding was cut. Later on, he states he feels better than ever now he's off his medication. This therefore causes his hallucinations and fall into madness. Anyway guys, be sure to let me know any more theories you have about the fate of Arthur Fleck and what his origin really is. Thank you so much for watching.
Can you
See you.
introduce me as Joker? Send in the clown.